Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NotBland Show, and I'm your host, Dujunnea Bland, and we have a great show planned for you today. As you can see, my partner here from now part of Speed Sport, their statistician, our historian, Dave W. What's going on, man? And congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was really a blast this past weekend, man. The return of the IHRA was awesome, and I can't wait to break it all down with you tonight. A lot of storylines throughout the entire weekend. Some adversity with the weather, extra day of racing, but they got everything all in, and what an amazing list of winners. And I can't wait to do it again. We're already week and a half away before Milan next week, so it's going to be great.
Yes, going to be good. You know what you guys need to do? Share the show. If you are not subscribed to the show, please do it. It is at the NotBland Show on YouTube. Tell a friend to be here. This one's going to be fun. Really excited about having Funny Car Ironman winner Mike McIntire, the driver of the Mac Attack Funny Car. Really delighted to talk to him and see what he thought about this new rebirth of the IHRA. And you guys can get that inside scoop and hear it from the drivers about how they felt about this weekend. A lot of positives coming from the weekend. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, want to thank our sponsors and our people who support us. Drag Race Reference, sportsjourney.com, of course, Everything Nitro, and Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It is time again to get this thing going and see if you can win one of those free prizes. If you're me, I'm just trying to close the gap between me and Dave W. as he walked away early in the NotBland Show League. We'll have that ticker running later on in the show so you guys can join in. But if you haven't signed up yet, this is how you do it. And afterwards, we'll have Mike McIntire on.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
A marathon, but an all-around great weekend. Thank you to the folks that I'm affiliated with over there at Competition Plus. Nicole Clark got that video. Man, Mike McIntire, how's it going, buddy?
Going great, man. We're like I said, we're on family vacation right now, and following a win, it makes it even that much better.
For sure. It was a marathon. Tell us a little bit about your weekend and how was the vibe and what was the vibe there?
Our weekend was great. We ran with the IHRA years ago, and they always treated us real well, and nothing different this time. We got there. They fed the racers dinner on Thursday night. They dropped off ice every day for us in the pits every morning, and they just worked real well with everyone.
And it's amazing to see the turnout of cars that was there. It was a really great field of drivers, and it had to be extra special for you to be the one to end up with that Ironman, the very first one in the rebirth of the IHRA series in Nitro Funny Car.
Yeah, super special. I mean, it was. It still hasn't really set in yet, to be honest with you. That's our first win with the big show car, and to do it at the first race, there was a lot of eyeballs on that event, and it was just crazy. Honestly, it was just crazy. There was really no words for it still.
Great facility over there. It looks like they had that thing set up really nicely for you guys. And the track prep looked to be, with not having a plethora of staff, looked to be superb each and every round.
Yeah, we had no issues with the track prep. The facility was really nice, really, really nice, and track was real smooth. No issues on our end. It was, of course we're going to say that after the win, but it was a great weekend and great facility, and like I said, everybody treated us really well.
That was going to be what I was kind of curious of too, because it seemed like some of the teams were struggling a little bit maybe to figure it out. They didn't go out there like NHRA did and kind of drag and scrape and spray between every category of cars. It was very just rapid fire. It didn't matter what class or what track length. They were just sending them. So I'm glad to hear that on your guys' end there wasn't any issue with the track. It was just a matter of matching the tune-up to it, which you guys did flawlessly, obviously, number one qualifier and the win.
Yeah, well, like the track wasn't, it was prepped good, but it was just hot, it was a 140-degree track. And, if you saw Norwalk a couple weeks ago, NHRA side, I mean, Saturday, it was that hot, and people were having a difficult time getting down too, So I think it was more or less just a track, temperature issue than anything else.
You guys have 5 races, and it really is pretty interesting for the small teams to be a part of this thing. Tell me a little bit about how this being able to come out here, get some money, and win some races, how that's going to help you guys as a small team.
I mean, it's huge. That the pay was it's honestly kind of crazy. Doing 8-car fields and getting that kind of money. We're not really used to that. So it worked out real well for us, winning the deal. I mean, it was that's the biggest paycheck we've ever gotten racing by a mile. It helps immensely. We can buy more parts and not worry too much about it at the moment.
That's kind of how I figured it was going to end up being. For some of these lesser funded teams, I guess you'd call it. I mean, these are life-changing paydays for you guys, and especially if you can go out and help you fund get to the next one. And obviously, like you say, a family team. I really, your interview at the top end was really. I used to race with my dad before he wasn't able to get out to the track anymore, and the fact that you had lost yours and you didn't get to see this moment. That's something that was really special, and I saw your commentary on social media that you kind of felt his presence. He was right along with you guys all weekend.
Yeah, like you said, we lost Dad last year, and I didn't know if we were going to pull the car back out again because we had done it forever together, and we were a team, and so we took the whole year off last year, and this year I wasn't even really sure if we were going to do it, and my wife, Susie, she pushed, and she wanted to go, and all my guys wanted to go again, and it was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's go to Norwalk. And then IHRA came out with this deal, and it was like, wow, okay, 4 of the races are within 3 hours of my house, and so that's huge. The payout was great, and we always loved to run with IHRA. Not that we dislike running with NHRA, but it's different. We're running against corporate guys that are doing it for a living, and that's a tough thing to do. Where on the IHRA side, it's more kind of our people that are doing it. They have full-time jobs and still go out and race because they want to be there and love it, and more of our kind of level. And yeah, I'm glad we came out. I'm glad we decided to come out and do it because it worked out. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable weekend.
I want to thank Todd for the photo competition plus. Appreciate that photo. You talked about the IHRA and this everything being so close to you guys. This has to be something that when you get there and you are with your friends, this has to be something that as fans, I look at it as they can relate a little bit because they see you're an everyday guy, goes out, has to still work a job to go racing. And it gives people a thought that, hey, I really can do this. I could do this if I wanted.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Thursday of the event, I was at work till 11. hauled butt to the race car shop, got in the rig, and drove straight to Columbus. Got there, me and my guy Matt Cayley and he and his son. We just got there. It worked a half day at work, got in the rig, hauled butt to the track, set up, got everything going, you know, and all my guys, they got there after work on Thursday, and you know, it's just all my guys are volunteer guys. They're all friends of mine. We just do this because we love it, you know.
And not to, keep continuously comparing and contrasting with NHRA, but even though it's mostly a lot of teams that have run an NHRA that were there, the whole atmosphere, even in the pits, were different. Nobody had their pit area roped off. Everybody was welcoming people in. Come look at the car. Come, take a look at this, take a look at that, answer any questions. What was the difference in that? How come? I mean, usually you go to an NHRA event and everybody's roped off no matter what. What brought about the open atmosphere here?
I don't know. The whole feeling of the event, it was a lot less, at least for us, the whole feeling of the event was a lot less stressful. It was way more laid back. I don't really know the answer to that. It just felt different. It just felt completely different than say going to an NHRA national event. And I can't really pinpoint why, but it was just, we really enjoyed it.
The racing was extremely tight over there. I know we talked about it on the Power Hour last week about, you're not going to see, may not see the low 380s and the big 330 mile an hour runs, but this racing was extremely tight. The people that were out there was very competitive. And it kind of reminded me of a series that I cover, Southeast Gassers Association, where, they don't even put up times on the scoreboard, but it kind of felt like the times just didn't matter. It was just about you guys going down the racetrack and two cars just battling it out and see who gets to the finish line first type of deal. And it really had that kind of vibe. What was your thought along with that? I know you guys obviously want to run the numbers to compete with your compadres, but it really felt like, just good old fashioned, whoever gets to the finish line first, that's who wins and moves on type of deal.
Yeah, it did have that feel. The heat was the biggest equalizer this weekend, because it doesn't matter if you can make more power than the next guy. If you can't get it down, it didn't matter. And, Dell was there. That's, who we ran in the finals. And they can throw down a 380,
Yes.
They have. And it's not like he forgot how to do it. It was just the track. The weather was the equalizer this weekend. And, and we can't throw down a 380. I mean, it's not going to happen. We go 90, we could throw down a mid 90 or something in good conditions, but we're not going to throw down an 80. So the heat kind of played a big hand in that as well, being that the race was so ridiculous. It would only take that much,
Well, I mean, the track's a big equalizer. Yeah, the heat, the times are off, but obviously in that final round, the driver made the difference. You won that thing on a hole shot. You rolled it in deep. You said Tony's probably going to be a little upset about it, but hey, it's the final round. Tommy Johnson said on the broadcast, there's no lane choice in winner's circle. It doesn't matter. It's just get to the finish line. So congratulations on that, because that one was all you.
Yeah, honestly, that's the first hole shot win. And I shoved it in deep. I mean, it was in there deep. And you got that. You're racing Del Worsham. He's an NHRA champ. He's an IHRA champ. He's a legend. He's one of the best out there. So you got to get every little bit you can when you're racing a guy like that, And we put it in deep. And I knew I was going to catch a little flack from it from some of my guys. But you got to do what you got to do. It's the finals.
Now you go on to the next race. Have you raced at this track before? Will this be your first time, or have you been here a time or two?
Yeah, we've actually been to Milan. Unfortunately, we won't be running there. With this.
Oh man.
Yeah, it stinks. We threw the deal together so quick the year that my guys, I'm missing 4 crew guys for that race. My crew chief Tony Shortall, he'll be in Sonoma with Ida's car on the NHRA side. And it's just, we could probably try to piece something together, but I'd rather not, just because it's, I don't want to get away from our deal. I don't, especially following up what we just did last weekend. Go there with, half crew, either people filling in or whatever. I just don't, it's not a good recipe for success trying to do that. So we're just gonna regroup, order some parts, get everything fresh, hit Columbus again in September and 42 for sure, and maybe go down to where's the last one in Georgia? Maybe hit that one in November, and call it a year.
That makes sense. And I mean, they've already said that there's no, with the shortened schedule and everything coming together so quickly, there's no points championship this year. That'll be a thing next year that they're working on. So it's not really hurting you one way or the other. But even just going to the individual events, picking up these Ironmen and picking up the big check, I mean, even to make 4 out of the 5 is got to still be pretty good depending on, your success level. And it hopefully pays off big and turns around into a much bigger thing next year too for you.
Man, I really hope it does. I really hope the IHRA deal takes off. We ran with them for 4 or 5 years with the nostalgia deal, and it was some of the best times of our lives. Great racing, running the whole tour, and I'd love to do it again with the big show car. I really would, and see where it takes us.
Well, Mike, I don't want to keep you too much longer from your vacation. I appreciate you taking the time, man. Congratulations on the Ironman win, and we look forward to seeing you back out at the racetrack in the next couple of races, man.
Yeah, I hope we can talk to you again afterwards. Again, we get good results.
Sure.
Have me on again, and see what happens. Right?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Enjoy your vacation, brother.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, anytime, brother. Anytime.
All right, take care.
Later. Mike McIntire, everybody. What a race, what a time, and what a deal there to have that guy be the winner. Has come out to a lot of NHRA events, and when they do come out, like everybody else, they're a formidable opponent. They get the car down the racetrack. But, man, like you said, game-changing money that was made for that team this past weekend here.
And they didn't back into it. I mean, they came into the race number 1 qualifier.
Yeah.
They put that out there. They ran good throughout the rounds. They had some pretty stout competition that they had to compete up against. So, I don't think that they took any of those rounds lightly. Yes, it is you versus the track at some point in time, but you got to get down it, but then you got to get down it first, and that's the big thing. And that's, like you said, in the final, went up there, just rolled in a little deep because he had that little extra motivation to get out there and do it. But take nothing away from that team. They ran good all weekend long. So they definitely earned every bit of that win.
Indeed, they sure did. And we're going to take a quick break. Also, we want to thank Nicole Clark for the photos as well. Appreciate that. Be able to get those photos and be able to show them to the fans here. And we'll take a break, and we'll come back, man. We're going to really kind of get into the weeds of what happened here at the IHRA event. And we'll talk a little bit of NHRA on the backside. Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hall will be back. I think it's Sonoma when they will be dropping that episode, or somewhere around in there. So as we get closer, we will be spilling more beans on who that particular driver will be that Buddy Hall will be, talking to. Otherwise, all the reruns are on their YouTube, and you can watch them on the NHRA Fast channels. Well, looking at Top Fuel, Dave, this one was almost came to how I pictured it. The person that I had picked was in the final, didn't seal the deal, but man, Scott Palmer really came through when he needed to.
He did. Not too bad. Some of the NHRA's rejects are the two that ended up in the final round against each other on that Facebook commentary that, none of these guys could do anything. And I mean, Scott just, they had obviously the mechanical issue in the first qualifying session that kind of can, again, IHRA too, with only 2 qualifying sessions. Got to mention that they only get 2 shots at the track on Friday before we even go into race day. So
Yeah.
that also levels the playing field even that much more, because you're not going into it with a whole ton of run data. You get 1 shot in each lane, and here we go. But losing that first run, I kind of figured might put them behind the 8 ball, having to go out there, push the thing back, then couldn't get it in forward. I don't recall what the actual issue ended up being. But then they come back in the, let's see here, 396 in the night session, the very abbreviated and few cars running night session, went straight to the top, and then it was game on from there.
Yeah. It was his, he had 1 previous IHRA final. That was in 2008 against Bruce Linton, I believe. That was pretty cool there. And then you had Krista, obviously, Chris Karamazinas, obviously was a winner in 1972. Either one of these drivers did become the 79th different winner in Top Fuel. And it would have been the 4th woman in IHRA history to win if she was able to pull that off. That would have put her in company with Rhonda Hartman Smith, Shirley Moe Downey, of course, and a name we all know, Hillary Will.
Hillary Will, yep. Picked up a win at Norwalk, I think it was, in the Coletta car back in 06. But it's funny, too, because if you read all the news and all the stories and the interviews with Scott Palmer, he's like, man, I was pulling for Chris to win that race, too. He's like, I'm not sad that I won, but I'm kind of sad that she didn't win, and that's just, it goes to show you the camaraderie, even though you have the competitive nature, that they're all out there and they're all pulling for each other and they're all cheering for each other, and they know for everybody what this series and what this payday and what these wins can mean to you and your team and your career. And everybody, you hate to see that there's got to be a winner and loser at the end of the day. It's a shame they only ended up with just a solid 8, but still a full field. We had all 8 cars in there, and nobody went home. So which kind of took the pressure off on Saturday night too, as it got very, very late. That session didn't run till after midnight, thanks to a few power outages and light outages at the track that made it exceptionally dark. But very low pressure, just go out there, get down the track, go A to B and compete. And that's what these guys came to do. They want to come race, and they got a chance to do that. And congratulations to Scott, definitely, for being the one to pull it all off.
Yeah, definitely. Really cool stuff there. Jackie Frick got the win in Top Alcohol Dragster. That was pretty cool. A lot of names there. I thought it was going to come down to the Meyer sisters, but you can never count out Jackie. That car is just it is very tough, and that was really cool to see her win as well.
I mean, I think a lot of people did, especially when Megan goes out there and goes 5:23 in the first session and just puts, a 10th on the field. It's kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. They kind of came a little bit closer back to everybody in the evening session as far as those runs went. But just a shout out in general to all of the Alcohol Dragster and Alcohol Funny Car teams. They put on some of the best, closest competitive racing of any of the categories, in addition to the Mountain Motor Pro Stock class, which had an expanded field due to the exceptional participation there.
Yes.
I mean, those guys just, you hate to say that there's winners and losers of the show, but I mean, those classes were the stars of the show. And it was very much a surprise when the semifinals rolled around that both Megan and Rachel had problems getting down the track, because I don't think, like you say, going into it, and then after seeing the qualifying and the way that they were on opposite sides of the ladder, it was kind of setting up for being a Meyer sister battle in the final. But it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, just wasn't meant to be. And Top Alcohol Funny Car was Stan. I say that's
Stan Sipo.
Sipo.
I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I've heard it both ways, but
yeah,
man, how about
cool
that guy?
For him. Yeah, really cool for him. And a lot of good list of names there. I was really surprised at Sean Billemeyer and how they came out But I also understand that they hadn't run that car in a while, and only 2 sessions like that really wasn't enough given the immense heat that they were dealing with
Right.
and the track temperature. So, not surprised. I'm sure they will get a few more laps here in the next upcoming races, and they'll get that thing on track. But nice for Stan.
Oh, 100%. And yes, Sean, I mean, the team, they said coming in, they're like, we've never run on track conditions like this, whether it's track temperature and the heat that they're going to be in and facing to get that thing set up. What a wild first round pedal fest that turned into. And Sean definitely saved that one. And in the semifinals, they just came up there and it had a hole out pretty early in the run. And that's all it took. You know, A fuel or not, if you're only running on 7 cylinders compared to your competition on all 8, you ain't going anywhere. So
Exactly.
and it was a shame to see him out. But again, another surprise final round, another final round won on a hole shot, another final round that was won by a driver who hadn't won since 1992. I mean, 33 years going back to the 1992 Mid-South Nationals in Memphis on the NHRA side was the last time that Stan hoisted a Wally, and now he's got an Ironman to go with it, becomes one of numerous drivers who have won in both IHRA and NHRA in Top Alcohol Funny Car. But just, I mean, it was such a good story. That's the thing about this weekend. No matter who ended up with the trophy and the check, it was going to be a good story.
Yeah.
And that was one of the better ones, the way it played out.
Indeed. And Jerry Tucker and Mountain Motor Pro Stock, that was a really good field of cars there. Really nice to see them out there. I really think, and I appreciate Larry Morgan and the crew bringing out the 500 cubic inch cars. But I think Mountain Motor Pro Stock is where it's at. I think that needs to be their Pro Stock class. I just maybe you might have some other entries. I personally just don't see that on a regular. I think Mountain Motor Pro Stock is your Pro Stock class, and leave the 500 cubic inch to NHRA. We could cut down on a little bit of the classes that we have here in IHRA too, but with the way the fields kind of lay out, it kind of helps speed things up in that regard because of the field size that they do have. So something to think about. But Mountain Motor Pro Stock is hella fun to watch there for sure.
Yes. And definitely as a staple and longest running IHRA professional category, this was the 390th national event to feature Mountain Motor Pro Stock. That's more than Alcohol Funny Car, which is about 240, more than Top Fuel, more than Nitro Funny Car. They've been around the longest. They've been at the most events. And, I mean, they didn't disappoint. And even on the 500-inch side, still nice to see Larry Morgan out there competing. He still had an 010 light in the final, even though Derek went red. Would have been nice to see more competitors. But, again, this stuff was all thrown together at the last minute. Derek Reese coming out there, Dave River towing over to give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know the way it may play out. So it was great, though, because just guys in general who on the NHRA side may be towards the bottom of the qualified sheet or not make it past first round Sunday are the marquee matchups, and they're the ones going rounds, and they're competing in the final rounds in front of the stage, which Sunday's crowd, unfortunately, was not the greatest just because of the carryover from the rain out, which is a shame. And I don't, nothing anybody could do about that. But being on the big stage and in the final round is just a confidence boost. It doesn't matter how many cars are on there. They're having a race, they're paying a check, and they're handing out a trophy. And it's a booster to anybody to be in the final, to have a chance to win it or win it, no matter how many show up and where it's at. The competitive spirit is out there, and I hope it's a confidence booster for some of these guys to help them out in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I thought the whole entire event, I'm gonna tell you, I don't really pay attention to any sportsman, top sportsman, super stop. I don't pay attention to any of that. I watched all of it from start to finish, and it was so much about the fact that, and I think we talked about this, off air. It's the stories. It's the getting to know who these people are. The announcers were great at sharing personal things about these people. And I think that's what made it fun, outside of just numbers and ETs and speeds and reaction times. It really did have I showed up at my local track type of feel. And it just so happened to be nitro cars there.
Right.
That's the vibe that I got from all of this. And the racers, it's very interesting. I compared this, and you guys know I compare it to wrestling all the time, but I compared this experience and what IHRA is doing here is just like what AEW is doing. Tony Khan has done an excellent job and really kind of put a little bit of heat on the competitor by taking care of his wrestlers. And that's paying them well, and giving them, taking care of them in the locker room, taking care of them as far as travel, and not putting them through strenuous back to back to back to back to back. That's the vibe and the feel. And from what we heard from racers talking about, it seemed like they took care of the racer. I mean, they're riding around handing out waters and everybody got food. And, that is a really special touch. The incident that happened during qualifying, the first guy on the scene with the fire extinguisher spraying the driver was your IHRA president.
Right.
That says a lot. A lot.
They were out there. I mean, Larry Morgan had, leaf blowers in his hand when the rain delay was out there. The announcer was out on the tractor running the thing back and forth. Doug Foley Jr. was out there. I mean, it was all hands on deck. And that's the big thing with the IHRA. And like you're saying, in comparison to the NHRA, there's not a and I don't want this to sound off. None of the commentary that I have is meant to be negative towards any person or any organization at all, one way or the other, because there's room for both. But this is like everybody's on the same level type feel. There's not just we're the suits up in the tower eating our prepared, delivered gourmet meal while all of our workers go out there and worker bees do all the stuff. Everybody was on the same level. You don't have the white collar and the blue collar. Everybody's blue collar. It's the racers organization. It's the working man's organization. Everybody, it doesn't matter what job it is, they're out there doing it. And I don't think that you'd see Glenn Quamrell of the NHRA out there with a push broom sweeping the bleach box on a race weekend, or out there spraying the track if that's what needed to be done, because they needed all hands on deck. And again, it's not a knock on them. It's just there's different approaches and different ways of doing it. And this is a different approach to drag racing. And that's what you have to applaud them for. And some people like it, some people hate it, but it's an alternative and it's an option.
Yeah. I think that is the key. Is it's an alternative, and you always need an alternative. I liken, and when you look at this, and you look at the two wrestling companies today, without AEW, you don't get some of the things that you got with WWE, because we saw it. There was no competition and stagnation. There's no pressure to do better, because you are the game. You are that premier organization and the only one. That doesn't take away from who they are and what they are. But a lot of things the IHRA did this weekend, we'll talk about, Drag Race Mayhem mentioned about the broadcast. I thought the broadcast was very well done by Speed Sport. There was different thought process on how to use the drone, and some of those drone shots that they got were just breathtaking. It was very creative of how they chose to use that. Wasn't all these big, cute little fancy graphics and all of that. Very simplistic, but the broadcast was sharp. And I thought they handled certain situations well, not leaving people, stringing people along and leaving people hanging. They cut the broadcast when needed to come back a little later when, they had some action on the racetrack. I really like TJ and that group there. Obviously, you could tell they have been a little rusty and out of the seat a little bit, but that's to be expected. Neither one of them has done this in probably as far as in front of a broadcast audience for a while now. So that it's really cool. I think they're going to be a great combination. The biggest thing and the biggest takeaway from the crew are the two Kristens. Okay, we've got people that are exceptional and know all the ins and outs of drag racing, and we don't get that type of commentary. Now, I will say this, knowing the ins and outs of what the broadcast for the NHRA is about, these people are kind of handcuffed. This felt like Diamond P to me. And the reason why I say that is because they didn't have all of the technical knowledge, but they asked all the right questions to get these people talking. And then once they got them talking, then they were able to play off of what they were talking about. But it was raw emotion that we got. Natural, true emotion. I mean, the one guy didn't even know he had won. She's got the camera in his face. He did not know he won. And that's the type of stuff that makes drag racing and attracts a young crowd, a young man like a Drag Race Mayhem in his demographic. That's how you get people to buy in. That's how you get people sucked into it, because you get to know the people at the core of who they are. And we don't get these prepared questions that basically are going to give us a prepared statement. They were still able to talk and still got their sponsors in.
Right.
Imagine that. They were actually real people and they still got their sponsors in.
Well, I didn't get to see much of the broadcast outside of what was going on, sitting in the booth all weekend, seeing the on-air pictures. They had a couple of the TV set up in there so you could see what the broadcast was airing at the time. But yeah. I agree in the fact that you're saying it's kind of like the Diamond P days. It reminds me of the NHRA back in the 1990s when they started their live deal with TNN, and NHRA Today would come on at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And it didn't matter what class was going down the track. That's what you saw. 9 times out of 10, it ended up being the alcohol classes or the professional classes, but there was no favoritism. There was no bias towards our show is nitro-centric and nitro-based, and we're not going to show the pro stock classes. We're not going to show the sportsman classes. It was everybody gets equal billing. We want to know everything we can about everybody that comes up here and tell their story and put that across. And, the pit reporters, the two Kristens, yes, they did an absolutely exceptional job with the questions that they asked, with the things that they came up with, the things that they are learning. It made for such an excellent put together show. And I think that maybe the scoreboard seemed like they were real hard to see. I think that's why you even had a delayed reaction between Mike McIntire's team celebrating after they went through the finish line. I couldn't really even see the green lights on the scoreboard. And I thought that was refreshing, because I'm sure a lot of the teams didn't have radios. So they come rolling around the corner and you're in those close races. There were so many that were decided by hole shots and thousands at the finish line. And when you roll around the corner and you genuinely don't know what your ET was, whether it was good or bad, and if you picked up that win light or not until you get that microphone stuck in your face or the TV crew comes up to you, that's where you get the genuine emotion from. And I think that's what NHRA has lacked for a long time. It's always been spoiled by the time they get around the corner, or the first thing they get handed when they get out of the car is that time sheet. They didn't have that down there. And I know that was somewhat of a gripe for the top end reporter as well. She's like, a lot of times we don't even know what the times are. We don't know. We don't have anybody down there printing us tickets. We don't have the graphics. We don't really even know, until we hear who wins to be able to share it with the people. But that's what makes it genuine. That's what makes it entertaining, because everybody's finding out together, and you get to capture that moment. And there was a lot of emotional interviews and a lot of people just with praise and happy that IHRA was back. And it makes for a compelling story. It's good TV.
Yeah, it definitely was. I'm going to get to this here, and I had my thoughts on it. First of all, very unfortunate incident. I've never seen anything like it. And prayers to Marvin Blaney, his wife. That was very hard to see her helpless like that. My take on it is I thought they did an exceptional job for where that car was on the racetrack. Most of your safety safari is down track for the most part, and unless sometimes you might have two crews, but most of the time they are down track. First off, where it happened, I don't think he was that far from the tree. I don't even know if he was 60 feet. He was less than that, really in a kind of a no man's land when it happened. And when I rewatched it several times over before they took it down, just to see not only what happened, what was going on, and why the response may have appeared to be slow. It actually wasn't slow. That thing went up in flames so quick that they had to act fast. I thought those who were on the starting line acted quickly. Obviously, they're a little ways from the car, so they had to run with those heavier fire extinguishers there. They were able to get that thing contained enough and really put out before the truck got there. So I think it's quick thinking on their part. I know it seemed as if that truck took a while. I just think they're all the way down track and not really, the access is at the end of the racetrack. So they had to come from around there down that racetrack. And with that quick instant explosion, and then I believe that was a nitrous bottle that was sounding off, was shooting like a flamethrower. That was a difficult situation. And I thought, given the situation, they did the best that they damn could with that. That was tough.
It was. And, you pretty much hit all the points. It was also a freak accident. It's not something that happens all the time. And as much as you try to be prepared for everything, there's always something that's going to catch you off guard that you're going to go, whoa. Or it just, she was already running out towards the car. I don't know what happened after the burnout, if it stalled, why it didn't back up to begin with, if he was trying to restart it. I don't even know how it got to the point that it did. But when it did backfire, when that did happen, it turned into such a fireball so quickly. Everybody was probably, it took them probably a second just to realize what happened. The fact that it was just in shock that could thing just be a ball of flame as quickly as it was. And yes, I feel like when they had the video of the safety truck getting up there, the people climbing off the back of the truck didn't seem in any big hurry, but they also knew that the people at the starting line had already run there and were, the flame had already mostly gone out and the smoke was changing color from the dark black to the white grayish smoke. So they knew it was being attended to. I don't think they realized, because of the situation, that Marvin was still in the car. We don't usually see a driver in the car that long. And I don't know, it has never been released yet by anybody what took him so long to get out of the car, why he was stuck in the car, why he was trapped in the car, whatever had happened to keep him in the car. It was just a freak occurrence that we see once in a blue moon, and it just happened to occur, right at the start of their premier event. And you could go back and look at some of these NHRA crashes. You go back to the 90s when the funny cars had the big fires. You're always used to seeing the safari truck chasing down John Force in flames, blasting that thing with the fire hose before he's even stopped. But you look at some of the more recent ones, Stevie Jackson, his crash at the Full Wides in Charlotte, bouncing off both walls at the top end. The car stops, and the same thing, it bursts into flames. It was 20 to 30 seconds before that gate swung open and the safety safari truck got there and was actually spraying the car with a hose. These cars going off into the sand trap. It takes them a while to get there. So it just was more dramatic. You're watching her panic and you're watching this huge fire just continue to evolve. that made it seem worse than it really was, which it was. It was bad. Don't get me wrong. It is a bad fire. But the response time is pretty much on par with what you'd see anything else. And it just, not to say that these cars shouldn't run at, just a local level or whatnot, but imagine it wasn't an IHRA national event. Maybe this is just a Wednesday test and tune at your local track and that happens.
Yeah.
That gentleman doesn't get out of that.
It's even worse. Yeah, he doesn't make it.
So, it's terrible that it happened, and it's terrible that it progressed as bad as it did. It's terrible that Marvin is injured, that he's got burns on his body, that, his extremities are severely burned. But at this point in time, it still seems possible that he's going to have a recovery. And this is not going to be, the worst possible outcome, which it could very, very well have been for the severity of the incident. So, I mean, yes, it is terrible that it happened, and it could always be better. Anything could always be better, but kudos for the safety team for even getting there and getting him out and getting him transported when they did.
Agreed. I thought it's tough. That's a tough situation, man. And like I said, when you've got something that goes up like that, it's really, it's so fast. It's not enough time to react quick enough. You can't be there quick enough. And Caleb, you're right. That 1997 fire in Memphis by Cruz was awful. That was awful. I think he even says that's his worst. That's his worst fire that he's ever been a part of. Yeah. Craig Sullivan had had one like that at a divisional race in Cecil County.
Yes.
But that was mid-pass, not a burnout. Yeah. Yeah. Those things, anytime, you had an accelerant with that nitrous bottle, none of that was good. It was just all a bad situation. He's Monday Morning Racer. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. I'll see you in a little bit. He said, what happened there was no different at an NHRA divisional. Yeah. I mean, right. It could have happened anywhere. And I don't think you could have done it any better. Mac 1320 says maybe it did just seem absolutely worse than normal. I don't know. I've seen a lot of crashes and it never gets easier. Actually, it scares me more than the older I get. Yeah, it really did. I was like, that one was tough, man. My thing was it made it worse because his wife was like right there. And then I think about if she was 4 seconds faster, she would have been side by side with that car when it blew, and likely would have gotten hit by the shrapnel. So that could have been 2
4 seconds faster and hit the kill switch on the back bumper.
Yeah,
but I don't think that would have been the thought. The thought would have been go open the door and see why it's not backing up, or go help back it up. And I mean there are so many worse outcomes that it could have been. The outcome that it ended up being is not a good one, but it's still better than the alternative. As you unfortunately got to look at it that way.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. That was bad. That was bad. That's crazy. He said it's actually in the race shop, in the trophy case. That's pretty cool. You guys should stop by there if you're ever up there. I need to get up there to stop by Cruz's shop there. Man.
Cruz at one of these races. Come on.
I know. Why not?
When does he do? What is he coming to Milan? What does he got? How about Columbus again after the U.S. Nationals? They ain't got nothing going on.
Yep.
Right down the road.
Right down the road. Man, I'm happy they're back. This is good for drag racing. I think more people should talk about it. I don't have a bias about anything. I was really a huge IHRA fan in its heyday. Clay was my guy. I knew Clay before he was ever in, the NHRA. And I don't understand why, the NHRA is another, I know I keep referencing that, but they're just like the WWE. They will not mention another championship from another company for their wrestler at all. And the NHRA doesn't mention these other things for that these other drivers have, unless sometimes with Clay, but they don't really mention a lot about it. I think the cross promotion would be great because IHRA is mentioning everything about these guys. Their NHRA wins, their IHRA wins if they have them. They're mentioning everything. And
and they do that because, in all honesty, so every driver is given from the professional level, from Top Fuel all the way down to quick rod, super rod, to snowmobile drivers, are all given a sheet when they come in to fill out information about their car, information about their personal life, information about their racing history. And why would anybody look at that and just say, you know what, 3 of these things have NHRA in them? They're drag racers. They drag race. They are happy and proud of their accomplishments, and they should be recognized for it, regardless of where it came from. It's drag racing in general, not just tunnel vision. So that's why they're out there and mentioning that. Yeah, the NHRA would probably never mention. They always used to say the I side. They were never even allowed to say IHRA as a name. And it's a shame. I mean, I get it. They probably have rules against that, but
they probably do.
It just goes back to exclusionary versus welcome to everybody. We treat everybody the same.
So have you seen the California Charger?
I have. Yeah.
Is it eligible?
No.
Oh man, that would be nice to see out there. That car is beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm like, don't drive it. Please don't drive it. I'd be sick if the thing caught on fire. Jesus. Or banged something and broke the body. Yeah, I'd be sick to my stomach. Drag Race Mayhem says IHRA business model is just better. Same payout for a lower cost. Don't see why the bigger teams don't jump over. We talked about this too. If I'm Coletta, I bring all my stuff over there. I bring all my stuff over there.
It's a good point. It's something that there was a lot of eyes from the NHRA side on this weekend. Whether they just showed up in person, they took a drive over just to see what it was all about. And there was just a lot of commentary, a lot of social media commentary of people who were watching and tuning in. And all you got to do is look at some of the posts that are made, because that's another thing. IHRA let anybody and everybody come cover this race, and they came in droves. Competition Plus had some excellent coverage. Redline Motorsports Media was out there. You had Cycle Drag out there. You had so many that drag coverage was out there. His social media page. They were always out there, and there are so many pictures. There are so many videos. Everything that you saw drag racing content-wise on social media this weekend all came from that race. Everybody was out there doing it, and there was a lot of eyes on it. And if you just read some of the comments on those posts, you could see some of the people and see where they come from and where their connections are, and know that they were watching and tuning into the broadcast. And there's a couple of them that might come out of the woodwork, and a lot of drivers that maybe even aren't part of the NHRA now but used to be are looking at this going, I wonder if I can get a ride and get out there and do this again.
Yeah.
Because it's a good time.
It is. It looked like a good time. And see, I was thinking that too. It's not like it's like a nostalgia car. It could pass.
I thought does it got a nostalgia body on it?
It does, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that the nostalgia body passes the rules, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. That's where
it's basically the rule book mirrors NHRA.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Which it makes sense that they would
take the car out, just put a modern body on it. You'll be fine. Get Cruz's backup body that he's not using. Get that Makers of Pictures car on there, and come on out.
Yeah. I'm excited about this. Looks like everything is being done the right way, and the racers are supporting it. I think now that they've seen this go off, and to see the reception of people that were there, I think you're going to find that you're going to see more people out there coming up in the next couple of races. I really do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the inside, to the NHRA. And the NHRA is in Seattle, Kent, Washington it is. Look, I'm going to tell you, this is. I don't like to talk about counts, but 11 top fuelers, 18 funny cars, which is surprised there's more funny cars, but I think there are some folks
the West
over
Coast
there.
guys, right? You probably got Dencham coming out.
Yep.
Jeff Deal's coming up. A lot of the West Coast guys, Rupert potentially. I haven't until you mentioned that today. I haven't even looked at the list. I was absolutely shocked when you sent me that message earlier.
I just did the counts, but I'm actually on the list, so I can go there. So we know we're going to have Dylan, I think it's
Wisniewski.
Yeah, Wesolowski on the Power Hour tonight, but he will be there. Looks like there's Jeff Deal. That's it. That's really it. That's the only Jeff Deal.
Who's else on the list then? How we
Hunter Green? Hunter Green is showing up.
Okay.
You got Alexis, Spencer, Buddy, Dave Richards, Paul Lee, Cruz, Ron, Matt, Chad Green, J.R. Todd, Daniel Wilkerson, Bobbert Tasca, Jack, and Austin Prock.
Okay.
So nice little list there.
There would have been the Dencham car, Rupert. I mean, maybe those guys are going to wait and come out in Sonoma here in a couple weeks. Go to the middle part because it's closer for them.
Yep. 18 pro stockers, only 9 pro stock motorcycles, only 5 top alcohol funny cars, and 14 top alcohol dragsters. My right out of the gate, my first criticism here is I understand that you guys want night sessions, but to have a night session at 9:15 and then you're asking them to run 3 sessions on Saturday, I don't think that's a great idea, and I don't think that is taking care of the crew that has to be there at 7 in the morning. Because your first round of qualifying, I think it's about 11:30 or 11:30 on Saturday, and they have to run 3 sessions on Saturday. That's a lot. And we all know if the NHRA blinks, they're behind 30 minutes. So I am telling you right now, if they start at 9:15, it's going to snow in the summertime here in Georgia. If they're on time, I don't expect them to be on time at all. So that's going to be a late one. And not only that, to have 3 sessions after that on Saturday is a lot to ask of your teams there. They will only have 1 session on Friday, 2 sessions for both pro stock and pro stock motorcycle. And the nitro classes are the only ones that have 3 sessions on Saturday. Look, I'm all for a night session. I love them. They're absolutely and utterly awesome. But that's a tall task to ask if this thing runs late and you don't get started until 9:30, 9:45. Because we know how to kill time and become late for no damn reason. This thing doesn't start on time, and it's already late. If you have an oil down, you have somebody, any type of incident that slows things up, this is going to be a late night. Now, granted, you only got 11 top fuel cars, so that's okay. But you got 18 funny cars. So either way, it kind of balances itself out.
So this, that's a new development. And I was surprised when you said that too, specifically just for the nitro classes, because they did
nitro classes.
Just doing 2 last year. And I'm like, they didn't do that last year. So
nope.
The fact that they added a 3rd nitro session on Saturday in the morning, but are still giving the pro stock car and motorcycle and alcohol cars their split days, is interesting to me, because maybe they're just trying to, you're almost, because people come for the nitro. We've had this talk, numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
You're almost trying to get the crowd just to come out Friday night only, maybe the working crowd who was not thinking of, maybe I'll come later, whatever it may be. Man, that is a weird schedule, because the nitro cars, you're going to get why would you run your first set? I get that was like the pre-COVID or after post-COVID, where you'd get one Friday session and that was your first hit at the track was your Friday night session, and it sucked. Nobody had any data. Nobody is the first time on the week, on the track all weekend in your prime time conditions, and you either hit it or you missed it.
You know what this is going to be?
10 times they missed it. So then they're going to have to make up for it on Saturday, because that sucks if that's their first session, man. I hope
Friday that's their first session at 9:15 is their first session. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen. This is going to be a lot of 60-foot and silence, because they're going to hit tire shake and they're just going to coast down the racetrack. We've seen this BS before. Okay, we've seen this great conditions. Oh, we're going to see record numbers, all this big talk. We get all hyped up for it. And a complete and utter dud. Someone lays a turd in the middle of the track, because that's basically what it is, a crap session.
Well, and you go out there, like you say, you just get one or two oil downs. That session's going to 11:30.
Yeah.
Done. So this is another thing, compare and contrast experience of IHRA versus NHRA. IHRA, even though they run multiple classes at multiple different race lengths, they just leave all the blocks on the track. Doesn't matter. You're running 8th mile, 1,000-foot and quarter-mile cones are still out there. Don't hit them, which some of them did. I mean, that was some of the downtime. We had a lot of centerline crossings, a lot of cones taken out that maybe didn't necessarily need to be. But at the same time, no track prep. We didn't have to stop and prep the track different for the pro stocks, the pro mods, the alcohol cars. They did a drag and a spray before the nitro classes, just because. But for the rest of it, it was just send them. Next class under the tower, send them. There was no downtime. Whereas NHRA now, and you always hear on the PA, well, it's going to be a minute. The pro stock cars like different prep than the motorcycles like, and they like different prep than the nitro cars like, and they like different prep than the factory stuff. It's a racetrack. Race it. So that's where IHRA and NHRA differs. I think that's where NHRA's downtime is coming in lately, and being off schedule on stuff is because they're out there dragging and scraping the starting line every time. But again, that is also the difference of, if you want a perfectly catered and manicured track to your preference for your class of vehicle, so you can run your optimal time, NHRA is your place. If you want to have to tune to get down the track and race the guy next to you, IHRA is your place. Yeah. So there's a place for each.
Yep. I'm a preference of just, all this extra prepping is that's first world problems. Like,
100%.
It's become too much now.
When the worst part is they waste all that time prepping it and they go up and smoke anyway.
Exactly.
It's still smoke.
It's a waste. And I'm sorry, but all this downtime and all this not staying on schedule ain't good for live TV. And this is my problem too. Like, you can't just decide when you're going to be on schedule and we're going to stick to a time. But when they do stick to a time, they're usually screwing top alcohol dragster and funny car to stay on time. They bump them. They bump somebody. But you could just be on schedule. Keep everybody to a tight turnaround and keep it moving, especially when there's no weather. And likely, most of these incidents that we have are not major. They're very rare that they're major. They're usually minor. Not enough to set you back 45, an hour and 45. It's not at all. And they've got to tighten that up. That is not something you can just turn on and turn off like a switch. If you want to have live TV, that's what you're going to have to start doing. You're going to have to be tight all the time. And that needs to be, no matter whether you've got live TV or not. Because nobody wants to be there, especially me as media. I don't want to get there at 7 o'clock in the morning, or like Bobby gets there 6 or so, sometimes earlier in the morning, to beat traffic, and we're not leaving until after 10, 11 o'clock. No. That's way too much. Then only to turn around to be back there early in the morning again.
Right. No. I mean, it's hard to combat that with what happened with the IHRA this weekend, but they had other external forces outside their control. Friday there were power surges because downtown Hebron was having power issues, and because they were on the same grid, they had to deal with the overflow. And of course, where's most of the power coming from? The track. So when that gets turned off, especially turning on all those lights and everything, but come in there on Saturday. So the late session, that it got to be so late on Friday night. Yes, that's why only 4 top fuel cars ran. Most of the pro mods turned around, except for Disco Dean, which if you saw his interview, man, lights are out. He don't care. He's out there. He made a pass after a long delay. They dealt with a huge oil down from finish line to turn off. That they had to put them behind. But on Saturday, they started eliminations. They said, hey, we're starting at 11 o'clock, and they were on pace. 4 o'clock came around. Nitro first round was running, and then you were watching it. You could see it come in. It was getting darker and darker and darker, and you're like, man, this is gonna be bad. Hope it keeps going that way, and it didn't. And but again, kudos. They got the thing dry. They ran it as late as they could. Cars started getting a little out of shape because the dew started settling on the track, and they had to delay it till Sunday. They were just dealt a bad hand, and I think that when we get to Milan here next weekend, I don't think you're going to see the same result. I think as long as the weather's good, you don't have any of that outside forces working against you. I think you're going to see a smooth program, and I think you're going to see it done by 10, 11 o'clock at night, both Friday and Saturday, and the show's going to be over.
Yep, that was my thought, and I know a lot of people had talked about it, but there was so much going on that affected them. I believe they're still kind of understaffed a little bit as well. And some of the things they had to deal with, for everybody to be pitching in and to get the job done was remarkable to see. But yeah, they were dealing with so much stuff that kept them off schedule. It was really hard. I mean, it seemed like every turn they were getting thrown something their way. And Nicole, you're right. I'd skip the first session. Nothing says you got to run it. But I'd skip that first session on Saturday after running at 9:15, hopefully 9:15 at night. And yes, Drag Race Mayhem. Yep. All the big storylines that we could have are not going to be there because of that. So absolutely and utterly ridiculous there that we don't have that ability to have those type of storylines. I'm of the notion too. I understand. They may like running here, but if the attendance is not great, and we already don't have a great car count, a lot of people skip this race, and if the attendance is not great, then what are we getting here? What is the reward? Why keep it? At least when people don't show up to New England Dragway, they're packed. They show up and show out. You give them what they want. They've had night sessions before, and there's not too many people there.
Right.
So when is enough? Because at the end of the day, I'm not interested in sacrificing quantity and quality for short fields and no attendance. If you're going to do that, then this needs to be a race where it's an 8-car field.
And in all honesty, it used to be. There were times where that was the case. The NHRA, they did have certain markets. It was only until 1986 that you had 16-car pro fields at every event. That they made everything a 16-car field. Even the alcohol classes used to be 8-car fields. They'd alternate back and forth between. You go to a track like Atlanta or Brainerd, you get an 8-car field. You go to Indy, you get a 16-car field. You go to the finals, you get a 16-car field. They would alternate back and forth. It wasn't uncommon, and I'm really shocked tonight at the Pro Stock Motorcycles. This just seems to be an event that they almost don't even go to.
Yeah,
because
you might as well take them off.
A huge haul and a huge expense for all those teams, and you can see the ones that are saying no, thank you. We can't justify the cost of traveling that far to the Northwest. And I get it. The NHRA has always said, well, Seattle's a big market and we're the only motorsports game in town out there. on land anyway, because they do always have the hydro boats out there. That's those definitely put on a show on the water. But it's a shame because there are diehard racers in that area that they look forward to this. There are some diehard fans that look forward to this. But the majority, I hate to say it, would rule if you don't keep showing up and you don't keep building that fan base. It doesn't matter if you're in a major market if nobody's there, if nobody cares. So it's a shame because it didn't used to be that way. You know, when it was the Seafair Nationals and the Jolly Rancher Nationals in the 80s and 90s, they used to pack the place. And for whatever reason, it just has seemingly fallen off a lot in recent years. And I'm not sure why. Yeah,
it's just, like I said, it's a long haul for people in a short field. Just is no fun for anybody. Nobody wants to have a bunch of buy runs. They'll take them, but nobody wants to have a bunch of buy runs. They want to put on a show at the end of the day. Looking at this race here, this is, ladies and gentlemen, your third race of the third quarter. We only have 3 races left in the regular season. Sonoma will be next. Then you will go to Brainerd. Then you will have the U.S. Nationals, and it will be close to September before we know it. This is a big race for a lot of teams who are sitting on the fence here that haven't made the necessary moves to start trending in the right direction to kind of catch a running start into the playoffs.
It really is, and it's weird when you put it that way to think we're already this far into the season, first of all. And then second of all, like we kind of talked about on the last show and touched upon, the U.S. Nationals has become a championship race. This is, with the invention of the regular season champion that they're going to start paying out for this year. You get basically 2 championships in one, 2 championship battles. And like we touched on the stuff last year, now is the time to pretty much either make your run for that, start testing for the countdown, or if you're close in points to somebody else, try and get that last spot for that better seating in the countdown. Or your last couple of chances, the other way to look at it is to start picking up Mission Foods bonus points that stay with you into the countdown, or start right there to help bolster your total. You're running out of time real quick, and it's definitely becoming a season of the haves and the have-nots, and we're only in July.
It really is. It really is. So we are going to. In Top Fuel, this is going to be pretty interesting. Only 11 cars here. I think this is going to be one of these races that somebody can steal. This seems like a race that Tony Stewart could come out of here, end up in the right spot, and find his way to the winner's circle. I am going to go with, though, Brittany Force. This has to be a race they have to capitalize on. If anybody can run in the conditions at night and put up a big number, it's them. And they have done that in that area more times than not. Who do you got in Top Fuel?
So here's the thing. If nobody else shows out and it is factual and you have 11 cars that show up, the number 1 qualifier gets a bye. And then between 2, 11, 5, and 6, they get the semifinal bye. Those are the 2 bye runs and eliminations. Which means you look at this stacked field of cars that are coming, and those are first-round matchups.
Yeah.
This is going to be so hard to pick. You second semifinal round, those are first-round matchups.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting you go with Brittany Force. I mean, I kind of want to say that this is like a I almost want to lean towards Justin Ashley. I want to say this is a Justin Ashley kind of race.
I was thinking that too, but I took Brittany on
that. And I wanted to lean and say that it's a Steve Torrance kind of race, but he ain't on the entry list.
Nope, he ain't there.
So I really feel like they got that hot weather tune-up combined with Justin's driving. 3 shots at the track on Saturday, including that Mission Food Challenge. It's not going to be any gimme rounds on Sunday unless he's number 1 qualifier, that's for sure. But I'm leaning towards Justin Ashley in top field.
Funny car, 18 cars on the premises. We've seen individuals like Cruz Pedregon begin to make moves in the right direction. Bob Tasker with all that new pipe coming out, making some moves. Spencer Hyde is a guy who is long overdue for a trophy here. And Drag Race Mayhem picked him, and that was my thought process as well. I'm going to go with Spencer Hyde. I do not think this is the day for the guys with the big horsepower. I think it's going to be for the guys who strategically get the car down the racetrack consistently and can get to the finish line. I'm going with Spencer Hyde and Funny Car.
Well, I'll take your same vein in your description, but I think you're going to change drivers, and it's not going to be Spencer Hyde. I think it's going to be Daniel Wilkerson.
He is due.
Because Tim Wilkerson is his crew chief, and Tim did pretty good as a tuner driver. Seattle was always one of the ones that Tim was around in the late rounds. Picked up quite a few wins there, quite a few runner-ups. That track and that area of the country just seemed to play into his tune-up. And Daniel get that starting line figured out. I mean, he wants redemption after that red light at the other event. So he's going to be on it. And I think that I'm going with Daniel Wilkerson to pick up win number 1.
Yeah. That is Memphis Lonnie. She's the bigger name. She's the bigger name right now.
Yes, congratulations on your proposal and upcoming marriage to Spencer Hyde and Courtney Enders.
Indeed. That was really cool to see. Really cool to see. This is 18 cars here in Pro Stock.
But there's only 2 of them you got to pick from.
That's right. I'm going with Dallas Glenn, hands down.
Well, I mean that would be one of his area. I mean, he's Division 6 racer. He's up from the Northwest. I think that would be true. But I mean, Greg's gonna spoil the party. Don't be late.
It's
on
tough.
The tree.
Yeah, it's tough. Greg has been dominant. I think your outlier could be Matt Hartford, but I don't know. It's a different day than a shootout. Shootout, he got it. His car's there, but when it comes down to finals, that's a whole nother ball game. I do think he's a possible outlier, but I'm going to take Dallas Glenn there.
Yeah, and I go with Greg, but I mean, for me, my possible outlier is quite simply the last race winner on tour, Corey Reed, who made his Pro Stock debut here 1 year ago. Got his first round win in the first round, won me a lot of money. Thank you, buddy. I saw that coming. And, I'm sure he wants to go out there and go back to back, because once you get that momentum and the knowledge of how to win, you get that confidence boost, you get out there and do it again. Just don't go red.
Yeah, that's it. That's the key. Don't turn on the red bulb. Pro Stock Motorcycle, 9 bikes are present here. So every matchup is going to be tough. Surprisingly, no Steve Johnson on this list. It consists of Gage Herrera, Matt Smith, Angie Smith, Chase Van Zandt, John Hall, Gianna Evaristo, Chris Bostic, Richard Gatson, and Mark Ingerson. That's it.
Right.
Everybody else stayed home. I'm going to take Richard Gatson.
Solid pick. I look at this, and I don't know if you've ever looked at what a 9-car ladder looks like, a 9-car pro ladder. There's a bye run in every round. Number 1 gets the free pass to round 2. Numbers 2 and 9, the winner of that gets a free pass in round 2 to the semis. And between 3, 8, 4, and 7, you're getting the bye run to the final if you make it to the semis. So the fact that the way that they lay them out and who qualifies where is going to make qualifying so damn important.
Yeah.
Because if you get the Vance and Hines bikes 1 and 2, you could very well put the Smiths against each other first round, or a Matt Smith, Chase Van Zandt first round, or a Gianna Riveristo and Angie Smith first. The short fields, I mean, it almost is like an 8-car field, the way that it's laid out, and you're going to get some monster matchups. You're basically starting from round 2 to fit, on, which, not to take away anything from these motorcycle competitors, but some of the lesser funded teams, round 1's kind of been a pick 'em.
Yeah,
so
it has been.
Every matchup's a monster matchup, and Chase Van Zandt, he's going on a year since he's won his first Wally, and I think he wants another one to go with it. And the man's killer on the starting line, and I think he's a dark horse pick again to go back to back at Seattle.
Man, that would be nice. He is the guy who could do it.
Ironic that neither one of us picked Gage or Matt. How about that?
Yeah, I don't look. I just think this is a totally different set of scenarios here when you come to Seattle, and with the way this thing lays out, we've seen Matt piss down his leg too many times in these type of moments where it looks like it could just be easy path to the finals. Gage hasn't looked. The rental bike is better. The rental bike is better right now. And with, like I said, Richard busting through that proverbial glass ceiling and getting his first win, he was darn near close to getting another one. So with this 9-bike field, I think this plays right into a guy like his hands, and a good pick for you with Chase Van Zandt as well. Another one that this could play right into their hands to get it done.
Ladder falls, and
Yep.
I don't know that I would go with those picks in 2 weeks when they get to Sonoma, when it's just going to be throw down Saturday morning and throw down Friday night, and those guys are going to be out there looking for 660s. That's going to be hard to bet against them guys at that race. But like you said, Seattle's a little bit of a surprise. We had a lot of first-time winners at Seattle, so I mean, there could be somebody that breaks out of that pack. Mark Ingerson coming out there, and it's really, really hard to say, but I mean, you've had some surprise upsets that come up in Seattle. Some one-time onlys and the start of some pretty big win streaks too. So it's going to be interesting for all the classes to see how it plays out. It's just a shame that there's not more out there and we're not looking at it. But in all honesty, the lesser car count and the way that the ladders play out makes it even more unpredictable. Which is why kudos to IHRA for keeping just 8-car fields, because you get monster matchups, right from the get-go.
Yeah, and they got some kind of $15,000 Mission Foods machine tournament of what is that? Muckleshoot Casino. Yeah. They're going to put up some money, so that'll be interesting on Thursday as well. Going to be interesting. It's always a fun time out there in Seattle, and I agree with you, Mac 1320. I'd be pissed too. It's time for him to steal both of those. He needs that championship badly, but he's going to have to fight for it. Greg is not laying down at all. No, he didn't. He's going to, though. He proposed. She said yes. Yep.
How un-American of the Canadian to do such a thing.
Right? Man, what a show. I see some new people in the comments as well. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show here. There's 77 people watching, and not everybody commented. So I know people are lurking in the background. I want to thank you lurkers. Everybody matters in watching this show. Those who watch it back, I greatly appreciate you guys. We are growing and growing fast. And I'm loving every minute of it. Check out Sports Journey. We will start talking about some football stuff. Camp is coming right around the corner as of next week. We do have a few articles up from myself and others who work with me at sportsjourney.com. So go check those out. I will likely have my 3 to watch for Seattle up sometime this week as well. So be sure to check us out at sportsjourney.com. Make sure you go to dragracereference.com to get all of your stats on whoever you want to know about. It's plenty there, plenty for you to glean through and educate yourself on. And soon there will be IHRA stuff up there too. Dude, I'm super happy for you. I can't say that enough. Congratulations. Nobody deserves it more than you, my man. And I'm just over the moon happy for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And yeah, we hope to make some good TV over there. The first one was great, but just imagine how much better it's going to be.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a blast. And, well, it's another Tuesday down, and we might have another show this week. If not, I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you all again, and come check us out at the Power Hour. We'll be talking a lot of IHRA, and we're talking to it is Scott Palmer and Dylan as well. So
got both Nitro winners tonight.
At 9. Yes. Super awesome there. So, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Good night. In a minute.